What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Kick-Ass Podcast. I am here. I think I'm live now. Full disclosure, did I guess a little rough take right before this. And was talking to myself, more so than normal. And yeah, so take two here. Got a few little additions here. If you see, so shout out to again Sai, who will probably be watching this hopefully on replay. And if not, then maybe he'll catch it a different time. But shout out to Sai, Side T, who often pops into the chat here, and our various other channels as well, but definitely of our Brashing Media. Definitely a friend. But thank you, dude. Thank you so much. It looks great, and I love it. I very much appreciate you. So just wanted to put that out there first and foremost because I appreciate that. And I think it looks really dope. So let me know what you guys think as well. I also am, I believe, attempting to go live on Twitch for the first time. So that's pretty cool. Trying that out as well. Full disclosure, if this is your first time seeing me here or wherever you are, first of all, thanks. Appreciate that. Welcome. And two, I am not a professional. I am not one of those high quality streamers or whatever content people, content creators out there. I just sit here and I kind of just talk shit. Well, not directly talk shit, but talk stuff about wrestling, and just kind of shoot the shit about wrestling. And man, I feel like, especially on my channel here, it's been a minute, and a lot has gone down since the last time I was able to record a video here or go live here over at the Kickash Podcast on YouTube. So, excuse me, I want to definitely do that. I did go live over at Wrestling Media on YouTube as well yesterday morning at 10 a.m. So you can check that out if you like. We did a preview show there for Saturday night's main event, but yeah, that was pretty much just kind of gearing up and getting ready for that show. But all that out of the way, you guys can see on the screen, thanks to Sai, where to follow me at. Feel free to follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on TikTok as well. I don't post really any like exclusive content over there or anything like that, just like random shit, really. But I am eligible to go live over there now, which is kind of weird. And I know even less about TikTok, and it's apparently getting banned in the US by January 19th or whatever. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's there if you'd like. I'm gonna try to maybe get better with it, but who knows? We'll see. But again, just wanted to get on here really and just kind of just shoot the shit and kind of catch up. Definitely want to take a look at obviously Saturday night's main event. We did have a big, I would say I would classify it as a big return in TNA over this past weekend as well, which was a shocker to me. I'll just kind of be honest about it. I did not think, especially in TNA, we would see this individual back even so soon. I mean, I guess it has been a few years now, but it still seems time is a weird concept anyways, but it still just seems like it was just yesterday that all of the happenings went down. So we'll kind of get into that and discuss that. Probably get into that first, actually. And also, there is a updated card for AEW Worlds End, which I'd want to take a look at briefly. Not going to get into that into too much depth on that right now. Going to save that for maybe hopefully a little bit later on this week. Obviously, as we get closer, we'll dig into it more. But and also want to put out there, I am getting over a cold. This week was not great. But if I sound even more congested or foggy or whatever than usual, I apologize for that. Or if I had to step away for a second and remove the camera, I just don't want to blow my nose in front of you guys because that would be rude, right? And not great for the ears if you're listening to eardrums or earbuds and stuff like that. So just a heads up with all that. But we will get started right into. Let me pull up here. Oh, what is up? We have pull up the comments here. X Tarlina 27, what's up? He said, been brought to your channel by my good friends of the Ringside Renaissance. Ah, that's great. That is, I appreciate that. Shout out to you, X Tarlina. I appreciate that. But yes, those dudes, shout out to Jesse, man. They are great. I love them over there. I actually need to catch up. Their review show is what I'm going to be listening to after this. So shout out to the guys over there. I truly appreciate them. They are obviously friends to the show here. And we should probably do something in the future. So we'll pin that on the board for some time in early 2025. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, thank you guys. I will open and make sure I keep an eye on the comments in the chat here. If you pop in, I appreciate it. Or if you listen on replay, whatever suits your fancy, I appreciate that as well. You can get the audio obviously anywhere you get audio, Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. But YouTube seems to be the easiest. I'm newer to YouTube as well, so welcome and shout out to everyone. Fearfully confident. What's up? Julia Hart, finally. Woohoo, let's go. Yeah, she's back. She's back. And what is up to you, Fearfully Confident? Welcome back. Welcome back. Nick, what up? What is up, dude? What is up? Thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. I will be listening to you guys. And dude, I'm actually taking off some time in the next 3 to 4 weeks or so. And I'm taking a couple Fridays off. So we will be in touch, man. We will be in touch. What is up, Rewind 89? Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. What is up, dude? What is up? What is up? You're very kind. I appreciate you because I feel like crap. So thank you, man. I was just saying I'm getting over a cold, so I appreciate that. So I was kind of debating on what really to get into first, honestly. And I think I'll just kind of start off with the return of Tessa Blanchard and just kind of, I don't want to say get that out of the way, as weird as that sounds, because honestly, it's a topic that I'm not gonna get too in depth on because it's just one of those things where I feel like I really don't have that. I don't really have that big of an opinion on. I do and I don't. You know what I mean? It's just it's one of those things where you would hope that someone would take accountability for something that they said and something that apparently multiple people witnessed occur. And if that apology and that ownership did not happen and everything, is checks out to be. And I think, let me actually pull it up here because one second. First of all, I guess too, I'm just, like I was saying earlier at the show, I'm just shocked that she's even in back, period. And the timing is very interesting too, especially with her returning to TNA and attacking Jordynne Grace. It's, I would say, pretty solid conclusion across the board that Jordynne Grace is headed to WWE after the start of the new year. I think people have reported that it's like January timeframe when Jordynne Grace's contract with TNA expires. I don't purport to be one of those insiders, right? I just kind of go off of stuff that I trust from like Fightful and stuff like that, or whomever. But yeah, it's if that's to be confirmed and around that time frame, that would be even more interesting because that would put her directly, her being Jordynne Grace, right, directly in line for the Royal Rumble, with the Rumble being, I believe, February 1st this year. So that would be a big deal. And I think the Rumble, man, this year, shout out to my friend Dan. I don't know if he watches YouTube or anything like that, or if he even knows I have a show here, but if he ever does, shout out to him. He's a very dope dude and a very, very close friend. But he's going to the Rumble. And I was really looking into it, but man, the prices, there's something fierce for these big four PLEs going forward. It just seems to be getting steeper and steeper on the wallet. So couldn't do that one, especially with just going to Mania this past year. But yeah, this Rumble is going to be dope, guys. It's going to be a heavy Rumble, especially with Cena being in there as well for the men's side. But even just the women's side, period, I think with the influx of talent that you have in NXT, not even, obviously, they have to call any NXT talent up, but you can get them in the mix with the other talent. I really did when they did that. I actually went to the Rumble last year, well, obviously. And the response to her last year was telling, I mean, I guess you could say you would hope with being so close to Orlando and TNA and stuff like that. But even then, like, it's been a minute. So Jordynne Grace, to kind of wrap that obvious point up, is expected to be heading over to WWE very shortly within the next 6-ish months. Unless she extends, maybe TNA makes a sweet deal that she just can't pass up, and she wants to stay and she wants to continue her run in TNA. I'd be surprised if she did, just because I feel like now she's primed and ready to go, right? So that's pretty much a given in my opinion. So that's what I was saying earlier. The time frame with bringing Tessa Blanchard back as well, and obviously having her go straight for Jordan Grace, which I think it had to be that, right? Jordan Grace is my opinion, right? And maybe obvious as well. The kind of like the measuring stick for the women's division. No disrespect to any other talent, right? In TNA in the Knockouts division and their women's division. So Tessa Blanchard coming back in and going straight for the top, really, is kind of, I don't want to say obvious again, but it's to be expected. So that is okay, fine. But just the sheer fact that she's back, period, is kind of where I'm at with it all. So let me get this pulled up here. And what is up, everyone in the chat? Nick, doors always open, never forbidden. Never forbidden door, yes. All right, so you say in regards to Tessa Blanchard, you say Tessa has had so much potential. I want to see her get another shot because she could be a top tier talent in this industry. I think she has paid her dues these last few years. Excuse me. And again, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't followed her closely at all, really. So you guys can help me out. I know at one point she had gone down to Mexico, at least for like a year or two, maybe. Unless I'm just terrible with time, which wouldn't be surprising. But she went down there and was kind of like just in the wrestling scene out there and honing her craft and just staying busy, really. Is the last thing I really heard. And then I'd heard not that she had stopped wrestling, but that she just, I don't know, she wasn't popping up in as many places, and she had, I think, recently gotten married. So I don't know, something like that. Just at least wasn't as active as maybe she was prior. So again, that's kind of why. And again, like I'm not well, I am a subscribed to the Torch, but they don't have like spoilers and stuff like that. But I do that for the audio content. But I was at least not even expecting, like I hadn't thought about her in a while. So even just the sheer thought of her potentially even being in talks with coming back to TNA, let alone making a full blown return, was it last night? Was surprising for me. But yeah, hold on 1 second. All right, sorry about that, guys. I just had to mute myself again. I don't want to be all sniffly and stuff all up in the mic. But yeah, I just wanted to pull up at least just have rough, I guess, bullet points in regards to what had happened prior. Da-da-dum. Oh, what's up, Tommy? Hello, my friend, new to the channel. I'm really a girl. Yeah, I think you popped in before, Tommy, if I'm not mistaken. What's up? What's up? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Oh, and Nikki had said, Grace is a megastar in WWE, straight to the main roster. Yeah, man, that's a good point. You know, she no doubt, right, that she's a big star, a megastar, and man, like just thinking about the depth of the women's division as a whole in WWE in 2025 is gonna be insane. But yeah, man, Adam Jordan Grace, I again, to me, it's gonna be one of those things where do they want her to go through NXT even just for a few months just to get the WWE vibe and the WWE just way of life down, right? First, or do they just send her straight to the top? Like you said, straight to the main roster. I think that's gonna be an interesting one. She could do an AJ Styles, right, and go straight to the main. But excuse me, even AJ said in an interview that he would have loved to have had the chance to go through NXT and to kind of like get his feet wet there and not learn the ropes, obviously, but learn the WWE side of things. And I think that's a big deal. And in my opinion, it's not even a knock. And yes, you could say NXT is developmental, right? But that's developmental isn't like you're some noob that has no idea what they're doing, or it's a slap in the face or disrespect or anything like that. To me, it's literally like kind of like your everyday life, right? So if I have a certain set of skills and I've worked at X company for 9 years, which actually kind of is like a similar situation to real life. I worked at a company for 9 years, right? Gained X amount of skills, had to leave there, moved, applied those skills to a different job. I didn't necessarily need to learn how to do the stuff that I was being hired to do for my role, but I needed to learn their side of things. I needed to learn their company. So that to me is just what NXT is. It's a new person coming in from the outside, needing to learn the WWE side of things, and the performance center. It's kind of like a crash course of it. And that's what I was saying earlier. This thing is bothering me. That's what I was saying earlier, that she doesn't even need to be in there for a few months or a long time. Just like maybe a few months max, if that. Maybe have her go in there, maybe because like and again, like, and I guess you can make a point for saving it. And I didn't even mean to get into Jordan Grace as much. But how can you not even be tempted with having her mix up with Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Delta, not to mention, excuse me, your Cora Jades, right? Roxanne, all the girls down there, women down there, right? How can you just easily pass that up? It's got to be tempting, is what I'm saying. And again, like I was gonna say, you can make a point to, or make a case rather, to save those matches for the main roster, which keeps a whole bunch of first time ever matches and feuds and stuff like that. But I also think there could be a case made for having history to play off of as well. So again, not going through all the motions and all the heavy chapters of a story, maybe, but at least starting it, right? And going through maybe chapter 1, 2 in NXT. And then by the time both of you make it up to NXT or to the main roster at a later point, you can then revisit that. And again, not even saying you have to go through and do that with each wrestler, right? You still want to save your first time evers and stuff like that. But I don't know, like to me, it's not everything needs to be a first time ever, or save it for like the main roster, or save it for X or whatever, because what if it doesn't happen? Like a lot of stuff happens, injuries happen, new people come in. So just, I don't know, sometimes things just don't go according to plan. So sometimes it's a situation where maybe you just strike while you can and go from there. So I guess that's my long story short of, I think I would kind of like maybe I just did make a case maybe for Jordan Grace to start in NXT. But again, if it is true that her contract with TNA is ending in, the January timeframe, that she can officially debut for WWE, at least in the Rumble again, have a great showing in the Rumble setting, and then make an impact, no pun intended, in NXT the following Tuesday, and then just go from there. Whether or not she wins the title, we'll save that for a later discussion. And then just that right there would determine how long she's going to be in NXT, and if you just wanted to have it play through the summer and then go from there. Because again, there's no rush too, and that's the beauty of it as well. You also can kind of make another point for having her go to NXT first, is you could save that main roster shine, really, and that main roster exposure. And again, I don't know the date. Maybe I probably should have looked it up beforehand, but I didn't mean to even get into Jordan Grace so much, but maybe I should have, because she deserves her flowers in the time, right? But it just wasn't intended for this lineup, is what I'm saying. But if she is like, let's say it's the end of this year, like December 31st, and starting January 1st, she is free and clear to sign with whomever. You could have her make a surprise debut on Monday Night Raw, right? On that January 6th edition. That'd be dope, right? To see her and kind of have like an Attitude Era type feel, like not position it as a like jumping ship or anything like that, like as any type of knock or disrespect to TNA, especially now that they have a partnership with them or a working relationship rather with them. But it would just be, and again, no pun intended, but an impact, right? Just having a big star like her, and of course, right, like she's not, maybe a big star is maybe hyping up a little bit too much, but a star like her come in and really be presented as a big deal, and she could still do that and then go to NXT and then go to SmackDown that week and kind of, she could kind of play the free agent route, and everyone can make a pitch for her and she could show up on each show and then kind of settle in on NXT. And I know that's going to be crazy, right? Like, why would she choose SmackDown over Raw, or SmackDown, I'm sorry, why would you choose NXT over SmackDown or Raw rather? But again, like I'm not gonna get so deep into it because I'm sitting here like booking out her next, like her year, the next year of her life. But yeah, like it's all about presentation. Long story short, very long story short. Sorry guys. But I think again, kind of like taking it back to the TNA, that again shows you the potential and that Jordan Grace has going into WWE, and the light that everyone views her in right now. And two, I don't know if TNA was maybe not concerned, but like, okay, like we're most likely, right, going to be losing Jordan Grace within the next 6 months, we'll say, or 2 3 months, 6 months, whatever. We'll be generous with 6 months, which is an overshoot, I'm sure. But they're like, okay, we need to have something else and someone else ready, and we need to have a story kind of branching off and bridging off of Jordan. And it's going to be interesting to see how, if Tessa Blanchard is going to be the wrestler to take Jordan Grace out, right? If they're going to do like an injury angle, or if it's going to be like a loser leaves TNA type thing, or how deep they get into it, which I'll kind of get into here in a second. But yeah, I think it makes sense, right? And it's going to be really telling. And TNA, say what you want about TNA, like the whole thing back in the day was like TNA LOL like type thing. Like, yes, like there's definitely been moments, right? But TNA deserves, excuse me, a lot of credit, and a lot of praise for the freedom that they give the wrestlers. You know, sometimes it does backfire, but humans are humans, right? And humans make their own decisions. But TNA has also been the platform for a lot of creativity, right? Like the Ultimate Deletion and stuff like that, and Broken Matt Hardy and the Hardy Compound. Like that's where all that really came to life. So, and again, whether you're a fan of it or not, but it really helped, and it really opened up a lot of different avenues, especially leading into the pandemic and stuff like that. So I think TNA should get more credit than it deserves, really. But saying all that, we kind of get into just the aspect of, was it a good idea, just period, as just business wise, bringing Tessa Blanchard back, because of what was reportedly said, and in the situation that she had with Rosa Negra in the past, and it just, I don't say put any of that to the side, because that's in my opinion, like the most important part, because Rosa Negra is an individual, right? And the other situation was just business. To her as an individual, like that is the main aspect, in my opinion. But just the business portion, if I'm not mistaken, the last thing that Tessa Blanchard was doing in TNA, and I'm not gonna, and I guess full disclosure too, I'm not the biggest diehard like TNA fan. I couldn't watch it for the longest time, and I didn't make an effort to go out there and to try to subscribe or find the weekly product. So that's on me, you know what I mean? But I did follow it, like I follow them on Twitter or whatever. And I do keep up with it as you know, as much as I do, right? Or as best as I can. And but maybe not as best as I can. So I was hesitant to say that, but whatever. You know, I'm more of a casual fan for TNA. But I do want to get more into it, and follow them more. But that's what I'm saying. If I'm not mistaken, she being Tessa Blanchard, won the heavyweight championship for the men's division. She was the first ever TNA, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty confident in saying that. TNA knockout women's wrestler. I hate the name knockout. Like, I wish they would get rid of that. I'm just gonna say women's wrestler. The first women's wrestler to win the heavyweight championship, and that was a big deal. But that weekend, I believe, is when Tessa Blanchard had sent out a tweet, pretty much saying that women should like advocate for each other. Let's see if I have it put up here. What's up? What's up? Let me check the chat here as well. Oh, thanks, Tommy. I appreciate you subscribing there. Appreciate that. Rewind. You said Rewind 89. You said, do you think they'll bring Jordan Grace's husband over too? He's only 5'4", so I'm curious how that would play out. I get it. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying there. I don't think his height plays as big of a deal as it would have in the past. Definitely doesn't help, probably, right? Which is a shame. But excuse me. But Jonathan Gresham, of course, he's a phenomenal wrestler, and I think he brings so much to the table, kind of like a Chad Gable, in my opinion. It's almost criminal if you don't. So whether they are brought over as a package deal, I almost kind of wouldn't want them being brought over as a package deal, but I think they would be kind of foolish not to, really, if and when they ever had the opportunity to. Again, do I see him main eventing WrestleMania or anything crazy like that? No, maybe, but that's okay. Like, not everyone needs to, and not everyone needs to be the heavyweight champion or anything like that. Like, of course, like, you want to be, right? And you want to be as big as you could be. You want to be, the main event guy and all that crap, but not crap, but like all that stuff, right? Like all those accolades and stuff like that. But I don't think it's, excuse me, I don't think that it's the make or break for a career, right? And I think that he would be so beneficial. And then not even talking about like the mindset, right, that he would bring, and him being like an agent or producer in the back or training at NXT, I think it'd be great. So I think that he definitely should. 1 second, guys. All right. Telling you guys, if you're just popping in, again, full disclosure, I am trying to get over this gnarly cold, man. It's just annoying. It's just annoying. It's been a week. It has been a week. So if I have to pop out really quick, that's why, because I don't want to be coughing all in y'all's ear. That's gross. What up, Lucifer? Lucifer sees your pain. Finally made one of these. Welcome, my friend. Welcome, welcome. I appreciate you popping in, bro. Appreciate that. Jesse, what's up? Jesse, what is up, my friend? You say TNA is really starting to boom again. Why'd you have to do that? I don't think they benefit from bringing her back. Hell. Yeah, bro. Yeah. Johnny, you say I don't care for Tessa Blanchard. Oh, I was waiting for it. When the GOAT Taz left TNA, they lost my viewership and probably 1 million other people too. If you guys are new to the chat, Rewind 89 is the GOAT Taz is yes, that Taz, #1 fan. So there will be Taz references. So be warned. Johnny says he won't be Johnny. I hope it and again, guys, if I get anything wrong, I apologize for that. But Johnny says I will be watching TNA. Is that because of directly because of Tessa? I'm assuming because of, excuse me, you say you don't care for Tessa Blanchard as your previous comment. So just confirming that. But that's interesting. Were you a diehard like TNA fan, or did you watch weekly, or like how invested were you prior? If you don't mind me asking. Just interested to see how deep you were into it. Okay, yeah. Well then, that's fair, dude, and I respect you. I respect your decision with that. And it sucks, dude. It sucks because, and again, I just really wonder why. Is it truly just because of I don't want to say the fear, but the knowing of losing Jordan Grace and just having that hole in the division? But is Tessa Blanchard really the best one to bring back? And it's a really touchy situation, you know what I mean? Because whenever you have something that went down that route, you know, like in regards to race and things like that, and comments that were made, or you know, I don't know if it's been confirmed that she said them, because last time I heard she hadn't responded or she hadn't apologized for it. But again, I'm not confirming one way or another. Don't come here for breaking news or anything like that. Excuse me. I just go off of what I've seen, and that's why I was trying to get a point up here. Okay, you said you haven't watched TNA since AJ Styles left, so okay, yeah, it's been a minute that because it's crazy, but AJ Styles is approaching 10 years in WWE. Fucking crazy, right? What was it 2016 that he debuted? Fucking crazy, right? But here we go, guys. Again, to just kind of adjust the elephant in the room in regards to Tessa Blanchard. I'm not gonna get like in depth in regards to all the tweets that various other women wrestlers and just talent put out. But at the time, and this article was back in 2020, so this was back when it was occurring. Originally Tessa Blanchard had put out a tweet after the start, after Impact had started saying, "Hey women, try supporting one another, cool things happen." Which seemed to be an innocent tweet, right? And innocent-ish enough, right? But that was not really the exact opposite happened. NXT superstar at the time, shout out Chelsea Green, new inaugural excuse me, WWE US Women's Champion, Chelsea Green responded, "You've consistently put down, bullied, and belittled countless female workers, including me. Is that support?" And then this article, which I'm reading, is from WrestlingInc.com, so shout out to them. Blanchard has since responded to Green's bully comment, writing, "I've never been anything but kind to you. I've dealt with mean girls since I started. Not saying I'm a saint. Hell, I've had my ups and downs, and I've made silly decisions, such as life. You have zero merit in your comments. Instead of putting me down here for a little clout, you've got my number," is what Tessa Blanchard had said. Allison Cade, brought up claims about Blanchard during a trip to Japan, stating, quote, "Remember when you spat in a black woman's face and called her that word in Japan? Was that you, quote, supporting women? The audacity of this tweet." And then Green responded to Kay with a gif that said, "I remember that." Heavy claims, right? Heavy fucking claims. And that's why this is serious. You know what I mean? Like that's why it's a big deal that she's brought back, in my opinion. In regards to Kay's story, Blanchard wrote, "Not true. That's my statement, and the most attention I'll give it because of how actually ridiculous it is." Okay, and that's what I remembered. That's why earlier I was stating I couldn't remember if she like apologized for it or anything like that. I do know there is a picture recently that I'll see if I can get pulled back up. Or I'm not gonna say recently, but I'm assuming and I'm pretty certain it was at least after all of this happened with her and La Rosa Negra. So I'm assuming they would have talked it out if they took a picture together. But I'll see if I can get that pulled back up here. Puerto Rican wrestler Black Rose has since responded thanking Kay and Green while also saying the story happened in 2017. Rose worked for, I think that's a typo there. Or just the translation that they have here. Yeah, it's the translation. Okay. Rose worked for Stardom in 2015 and 2017. Blanchard also worked for Stardom in 2016 and 2017. And then quote, "At Sienna and at I'm Chelsea Green. Thank you so much. That story, yes, that happens on Japan 2017. If Tessa Blanchard do not remember it, can I? I am not a mean girl with any coworkers around the world. Be kind of," and then they hashtagged racist. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. I don't know. I don't know the rules here. But hashtag that word. "It's not ridiculous. Is a hashtag sickness." So I don't know. That's just like a random tweet. or that they quoted. I'm assuming that's from possibly La Rosa Negra, but they don't have that authored. They just have the quote there. Additional wrestlers have chimed in over the last couple of hours, including NXT UK's Isla Dawn, writing to Blanchard, quote, as someone who experienced your bullying firsthand, received regular verbal abuse, was spat on, had rumors spread about me, dealt with multiple attempts by you to blacklist me from other companies, plus more. I just pray you now follow your own advice. Quote. Okay. Now this is interesting and kind of, I'm just gonna say interesting. And again, this article, let me actually pull it up so we can all share with the class. Here, while I do that, guys, 1 second. All right, let me know if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me okay? I think so. I have my connection put up here. All right, cool. Should have took that banner off. But yeah, I just wanted to obviously kind of show the article itself really quick here. To because I think, you know, like I was saying earlier, this is serious. But 1 second, let me move that back over. All right. And so this is the article that I was just referencing prior and reading off of. But that's what I'm saying. This actually is pretty interesting because this portion right here, because of a picture that has recently surfaced on Twitter. And it'll always be Twitter to me. But fellow Impact star Moose, and again, that's what I was saying I want to share with you guys because this article, January 11th, 2020, right? Okay. So it's just like I don't know. I guess shows you I guess who your friends are in one light. Fellow Impact star Moose was in support of Blanchard, writing to both Kay and Green, quote, I guess you and I'm Chelsea Green are absolute angels with a clean past. The timing of these tweets from you guys shows a lot about your characters, end quote. And then it goes on to continue talking about additional stuff that Tessa Blanchard had done in Japan. I like to one person's or Rebel wrote Rebel. I like to think people change over time, but I could confirm the bad behavior and non-supportive attitude in Japan. I was there. Another quote. She did more nasty stuff in Japan. Never forget. Practice what you preach, sweetheart. I stand by at La Abusadorade PR. I'm not sure if I said that correctly. She's a fun-loving person who would never disrespect anyone. Much love to you, Rosa. Shauna commented. So just more essentially just I don't want to say more proof, but just more people coming out saying that they were not treated well, to say the absolute very least, by Blanchard in her run in Japan during 2016, 2017. Allison Kay followed up on why she's telling the story about Blanchard now, saying she was given permission to make it public. Quote, the reason I've never said anything until now is because it wasn't my story to tell. I made it clear to La Rosa that I had her back, and today was the day she gave me permission. You can't force someone to come forward, but you can be there for them. That is, quote, supporting women. And a lot of people were saying that because, again, that was the time that Tessa Blanchard was fighting for the Impact Championship. So that's why a lot of people are like, oh, it's pretty convenient, right? That you're you guys are bringing this up now, and just, which is kind of shitty in my opinion, right? Like, and I get, and we're not going to get into like a whole like downward spiral of accusations and timings and things like that, but in some situations you can make a case for that. But I'm not going to speculate on this one because honestly, it's just none of my business, really. um, and I just hope that whatever was said and done between all these individuals is addressed and taken care of between them. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's just a shitty situation. It's something that obviously didn't need to happen, and if it did happen, it does speak a lot to someone's character. You do hope that people change, though, and that's all I'll say about that too. You know, like you do hope that if someone does do something that's really shitty, or something that's, or acts a certain way, or thinks they're above everyone, and because at that time too, she was like one of the hottest, like, I guess, indie wrestlers, right? Like it was almost a given that she was going to be heading to WWE and she was going to be this big star and all this stuff. And maybe that got to her head. Just pure speculation. And she just felt like she could talk to, excuse me, anyone any type of way. And she learned really quick that you can't, regardless of who you are. Shit comes back and it'll hurt you. You know what I mean? Karma's a bitch and shit comes back. So none of us are perfect though. You know what I mean? But like that, certain things just have levels to it, you know? And that's just, that just ain't it. That just ain't it. If all that checks out, you know what I mean? And it seems, I don't know. She says it didn't, obviously, but I don't know. It's just one of those things that I hope has at least been addressed, because again, that was damn near 5 years ago now when that article was dropped. So again, timing is very interesting with everything, and to me, it's a question of, is TNA bringing her back now because it has been almost 5 years? Hopefully, they're hoping rather that things have died down, and it's not going to be as big of a blow negatively, bringing her back, and maybe that they could just kind of like smooth it over and just kind of get through the rough patch at the beginning and then just go from there. I don't know. I don't know, and it's going to be very interesting to see the follow up and what they address on television, because Jordan Grace had made a statement stating that, or had referenced that she didn't want to be involved in it. Essentially, let me see. Da, 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 da. All right. All right, cool. So this article, what's today say? Is today the 15th? Yeah, okay. So this article was dropped yesterday, and this is from Cage Side Seat. The author is, not the ad, Manolo Haas Pizzazz. So, bro, Manolo Haas Pizzazz is a fucking dope name. So if that's this person's real name, or even if it's just like a stage name, fucking great job. That's great. I gotta share it just for that. I haven't read this article, full disclosure, but I gotta share it just because. Let me move my stuff. All right. All right, so Jordan Grace responds to attack from Tessa Blanchard. See, look. Manolo Haas Pizzazz. That's dope. What a fucking great name, dude. All right. Tessa Blanchard sent shockwaves through TNA when she made a surprise return at Final Resolution, December 13th, 2024. Blanchard arrived in disguise to attack Jordan Grace. We're not going to play that because sadly copyright exists. The Juggernaut don't play that. What a great sentence. Grace gave a fiery response to Tessa's antics, rather. Backstage after the attack, Grace was riled up. She exclaimed, quote, "I've known for a while that Tessa was ignorant, but what I didn't realize is that she's actually a complete idiot. Coming back after all this time, after abandoning this company to try and make a statement using me of all people. Tessa, a lot has changed since you've been gone, and you're going to realize very quickly that you've made a huge fucking mistake." Great job. Huge fucking mistake. Hell yeah. I was literally about to say hell yeah. Wild. Hell yeah. The passionate anger in that promo is a home run. This burgeoning effect burgeoning effect between Blanchard and Grace has potential to kick so much ass. Okay, yeah. I agree. What a great article, bro. Straight to the point. Fucking appreciate that. But yeah. They will my big thing too. I guess I could have just removed the whole overlay to begin with. Whatever, sorry about that. But the whole actually I want to pull this article up as well. I don't want to say, at least character-wise on TV, which is not the most important part, right? I already discussed the backstage part, right? Which is hopefully they're getting that addressed properly, but it have. But the fact that, in my opinion, it's character-wise and positioning-wise, they are bringing. It's kind of like a flop. They're trying to is I don't know. Just character-wise, keeping it character-wise, nothing outside of the ring. They're trying to just slide one out, slide one in, essentially. And I get that. As a business, I get that, but you got to pick and choose what you're doing, and I hope this doesn't come back to bite them in the ass, they being TNA. She did have a photo with Moose, and that's why I was saying, earlier, that it was ironic because that the article earlier had a quote from Moose showing support from her, or for her, rather. Because Homeboy has been supporting her for a minute. And that's, hey, like, that's what I'm saying. You know who your friends are. And he's sticking up for her. So I can respect that. And, like, you hope you have friends in your life that ride or die for you. And I don't know if he thinks that none of this happened, or if she's made amends for what has happened, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, whatever the truth is, like, I just hope everyone involved is good. Excuse me. I really don't want to show that screen from that site, rather. But yeah, I'll just. Yeah, I'll just pull it up this way. But right there. I'm just laughing at my searching slogans, whatever. But yeah, so he's been full support of her, so she's got someone in TNA, at least, one of the boys pulling for her. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes going forward. Spent way much longer than I thought I did, or than I thought I would on Tessa Blanchard and TNA. So we will be moving right over to Saturday night's main event, because I thought that was a very good show, and to the point where I thought it was a pay-per-view. I forgot it was a PLE, or a PLE rather, throw my banner back up there. But I completely forgot. Excuse me. I was going to look for certain review shows, and I realized, oh my god, it wasn't a PLE. It was just, I'm not gonna say I was like, oh my god, it was a home run, but it was a really good show, in my opinion. Let me get the notes pulled back up for it really quick. But I think I already referenced it earlier, but shout out to Chelsea Green. We'll just start with that match. Chelsea Green becoming the inaugural United States Women's Champion, I think, was just so well done. And again, was the match a home run? No, it wasn't. But I think that it was the right decision. I loved all the homages to Zack Ryder and, her Matt Cardona, her husband, shout out to them. And it's dope because he obviously was a U.S. champ in the past. So they are the first and only couple to have both held the United States Championship. So that's pretty cool, right? So shout out to Chelsea Green. I think if you listen to me on the preview show over on Brass Ring Media on YouTube, I'm a big Chelsea Green fan. I think that she has a lot to offer, and I think that now that she is the champion, she has an opportunity to tweak her character a little bit and make it a little bit more serious in the respect that she takes defending the title seriously and she takes her role as being the champion seriously. She doesn't change who she is and what brought her to the table, right? And how obnoxious she is. She still doesn't want to have these matches, right? And she's still going to do what she can to avoid having these matches and defending her title. But she does do a kick-ass job in defending the championship, and she puts on good matches. And I think it's just going to take time. Like, yes, has she ever been known to be like a ring general or anything like that? Maybe not, but it takes time. And she's very good in the ring. And I think that it's a good opportunity for her, and it was the right call. Excuse me. So I'm here for it. The crowd was there for it, and again, probably some biasy being on Long Island with the relation, of course, with Zack Ryder. So maybe that was a little hometown-ish advantage, but the crowd was with her, and I think, like I was saying on the preview show, that it's gonna be one of those things that carries over with her to from town to town. And I think if handled right, like they could really get a lot out of this. So I think it could even potentially be a story of Piper Niven being elevated. Maybe Piper Niven starts to it depending on how well received Chelsea it is by the fans, and if it's getting to a stage where she has to be a good guy, maybe you can get to the route where Piper Niven becomes jealous and Piper is like, maybe that should have been me. I should have been the inaugural United States champion, and it goes from there, and it just adds more meaning and more merit to the championship. So there's a lot you could do with it. And of course, like I expect Michin to have a return match with Chelsea Green, and have another opportunity at the title, but I don't see Chelsea losing it necessarily that quickly. I see her holding on to it rather for a few months. And do I see her holding on to it to Mania? I don't know, maybe, but I think it just really depends on how it goes. I don't think it's gonna be like a week by week thing. I think they have an idea, but I think it's one of those things that could be extended or tweaked depending on the response. Really, excuse me. 1 second. Some good old ginger ale. I need it. I need it in my life. Um, Going back in the comments here really quick. Sorry about that, guys. Johnny said, I bet you TNA going to bring in, oh, Jesus, Joey Ryan, Marty Scurll, Drew Gulak, and the Velveteen Dream. Whew. You see, Velveteen Dream is making his rounds on the Indies again. Patrick Clark, I believe. Yeah, Rewind, you are right. Change takes time and effort, and a lot of it. Lucifer sees your pain. You said, I haven't seen Impact TNA on a weekly basis since Dixie Carter was in charge. Them days were wild. Anything after that, I'm out of the loop on. I've noticed their work with WWE nowadays, but that was it. Okay, dude. Yeah. For sure. Totally get that. Totally get that. I was like that for a while too. Very much like that for a while. What up, Hardcore Kevin? What up? What up? Nice avatar there. That's dope. Did it feel different from a Raw or SmackDown? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, it did though. I kind of disagree with you there. It definitely felt like a much bigger show than a Raw or SmackDown. Now, if you want to say maybe like a themed Raw or SmackDown that they put a little bit of importance behind, then I'd probably go with that. But to me, it definitely did feel more like a level up than a Raw or SmackDown, in my opinion. Excuse me. I'm telling you guys, man, it's been a rough one. Rewind, you said, I'm starting to become a big Chelsea Green fan. She's really likable. She is, dude. And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not going to be surprising to me if she ends up becoming a good guy out of all this because there's just something about her, man. Like, it's like, God, like, you get on my fucking nerves, but like, like, I dig you, man. I dig you. So I think it's gonna be one of those things. And then she can, of course, like tweak her character and not be such an asshole, right? When she does become one with the fans. So we'll see. We'll see, but I'm very excited for the future with it, and I like how they set it up. I like the importance of it, and I like the presentation of it all so far. So far so good in my opinion. Um, all right, next we had Drew Mook. The fuck was I about to say? Drew McIntyre, who defeated Sami Zayn by pinfall. It was about a 10-minute match. I really dug that match. It was one of my favorite matches on the card. And I wasn't even expecting that going into it. I think Drew looked great, and I didn't even realize, and I don't know if I missed it in the past, that Sami has never beaten Drew one-on-one. So I think that's very interesting. Very interesting. And I think the follow-up with this was the key, and the story that this had going into it, and especially coming out of it, that Drew McIntyre said, "One down, four to go." Right? So that obviously means he ain't done with CM Punk. He's gonna be saying what's up to Jey Uso. He's already, knocked out Jimmy, and excuse me, and Jimmy has a broken toe, so Jimmy can't do shit right now. And he's gonna be revisiting the Tribal Chief. So, well, our once actually christened Tribal Chief, not Solo. And I think it was Azan in Brass Ring Media Chat, so shout out to Azan. But if I'm not mistaken, if it was him, but he had mentioned or asked, do you think Roman and Drew at the Rumble? And I hadn't really thought about it too much, but I could kind of see it now. It just really depends on the Mania plans, and I think Mania is really going to predict a lot. It's almost like they need to know what to book for Mania, at least main event wise, so they can book backwards for, I don't want to say the littler shows, but like, excuse me, guys. But the Raw debut on Netflix for January 6th, and then of course the Rumble. Rumble is not as important because the Rumble match sells itself, but you still need substance going to Mania, and then you have Elimination Chamber as well. So you still need to have content and substance to build to Mania. You can't. Yes, Mania obviously sells itself also, but you can't just hype on and hark on that. Rather, you need to, especially going off of how strong last year was, you need to keep that going. So, especially with The Rock being involved, like, I'm sure, like, it's going to pick up probably within the next couple of weeks, really. Yeah, Johnny, I really don't want to see another Drew and Punk match right now either, but he said 4 to go, so that would be, just the logical explanation for it, really. But yeah. What up, Christopher? Christopher Jackson in Denver, or is Denver your last name? What up? What up? You say hi, happy holidays, Ash. What up, Christopher? What up? What up? Thanks for popping in. I appreciate you. Lucifer sees. Do you mind if I call you Lucifer for short? Lucifer sees your pain. Says, if Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes have another match, I'd like KO to break out that powerbomb on the apron spot. To me, he's never really snapped. The package pile driver on Saturday night's main event was nice, though. We'll definitely be getting into that. Because that was the story going forward after the whole show was over. And I like the way they did it. Some people I saw on Twitter weren't fans that I wasn't shown on the main broadcast, but I'll chat about that here in a second. We did have Liv Morgan defeating Io Sky by pinfall, and I was surprised by this match. I was surprised, unless I'm missing something, guys. And again, I kind of was doing other things when I was getting home from work when I was catching up on this, but I was surprised that this was a clean finish. But I was happy with it. I like that they were bold, that they pulled the trigger with it. It doesn't really hurt Io Sky, in my opinion, because again, like I've stated before, like even if you're a kick-ass like football team, basketball team, whatever, excuse me, the majority of the time and the majority of your seasons, you're not undefeated. You're not even like whatever the record is. Like you don't lose like 1 or 2 games here or there, or just like period. Like no, like you take your L's and you keep moving. That's how you grow, and that's what really defines your team. So to me, Io Sky did not get hurt out of this at all. And we got the expected appearance from Rhea Ripley thereafter. Maybe it wasn't expected to be that night, but she did come out, and I love that. My girl Rhea, man, she always hits her entrance. She's always gonna hit that foot stomp. So shout out Rhea. But no, she looked amazing. She looked fucking great. Sets up the expected match: Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. I'm assuming it's going to be on the Raw on January 6th on Netflix. So we'll see how that plays out. I think they gotta pull the trigger with Ripley winning. Just an early prediction and spoiler maybe. Not spoiler, but just an early prediction. They gotta pull the trigger on Rhea Ripley defeating Morgan if they're gonna do that match. Wherever they do it, really. But especially if they do it on the Raw on Netflix. But what better way to pack a punch, right, than having a title change and it being your biggest women's talent in the business right now, in my opinion, is Rhea Ripley. So having it go back on the biggest star in the women's scene, period, and putting the title on her and just and going strong into Mania season, I'm here for it, and I think that's the direction they're going in. I hope so, because I kind of want this to be done with too. Like Johnny was saying earlier with Drew and Punk, I'm kind of done with Rhea and Morgan for now. I expect them to come back in the future, right? But I just kind of want Rhea to do something fresh, and I want other women to get opportunity in the shine. So I'm hoping we're getting to that point with that. But yeah, Christopher, we talked about that earlier. Chelsea Green winning the U.S. title. It was a very wonderful moment. She has a new shirt out as well. She is the Statue of Liberty holding the U.S. Championship, and it has Chelsea in the American flag in the background. I might be getting that. Lucifer, DJ Payne. So Lucifer is fine. No, I get it, bro. I get it. Yes, no, I go get some sleep, my friend. I appreciate that. I appreciate you sending the well wishes. I appreciate that, my friend. And sleep well, man. Sleep well. I probably won't be too much longer on here myself because I gotta get ready for work tomorrow as well. The third ain't feeling too great, but I missed being on here and it's just talking shit about wrestling. So just kind of taking advantage of a little bit of time that I had tonight. So that's what I'm saying. I appreciate all you guys for popping in. And if anyone's watching on Twitch, I don't know. I just set up all the Twitch stuff. So like I said, I'm very new to all this, so just kind of learning, just branching out. But yeah, the other match that we had before the main event was Gunther defeating Finn Balor and Damian Priest by pinfall. And again, with this one, I like that it was kind of just straight to the point, and Gunther maintained or retained rather not only the championship but his dominance, really, and the fact that he didn't need anyone interfering or anything like that. Like, yes, it was a triple threat still, but Gunther did what he needed to do. He got the victory himself, and that's pretty much that for the Gunther side of things. Now, where we go with Finn Balor and Damian Priest, that's a whole other topic because, again, like I was just saying with Liv and Morgan, I did that the other show, or I think I married like Rhea. I called her like Rhea Morgan or some shit. But like with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley and Drew and Punk, kind of ready to move on. You know what I mean? Kind of ready to throw some new people into the mix. So I want to see what Damian Priest can do. I want to see what Finn Balor can do with other individuals. And I did read somewhere that they are looking to have Balor kind of get a renewed singles push. So I'm down for that. We just need to have him lose the tag titles, which I think they're set to face off against the War Raiders Monday Night Raw, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully they lose the tag titles and they can Judgment Day can kind of implode and they can all do their own thing. Excuse me, guys. 1 second. All right. The main event is finally here. Cody Rhodes defeated Kevin Owens by pinfall, and it wasn't just by pinfall. It was how the pinfall was obtained. So Cody, of course, there was the referees were not. I believe 2 referees were knocked down, and a chair was brought into play. We all expected Kevin Owens to hit Cody with the stupid ads. Some of these ads are just bonkers. We all expected Kevin Rhodes to just wail on Cody, right, with the chair, but that did not happen. Cody ended up, I think he hit the Cody Cutter, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it was, oh my gosh, what was the, hold on 1 second. You know what? I should have just gone straight to, shout out to ProWrestling.net as always. I should have just fucking gone to them. I don't know why I try to go to all these other bullshit sites with all these ads. But I loved really quick too. I really loved the overall vibe of the show. That's what I was saying. To me, it felt a little bit bigger than just a regular Raw or SmackDown. It felt like a bigger deal. It was maybe not. Maybe I was just a little bit more excited for it just because I was able to watch it when I got home from work, but earlier than I expected. But it just felt like kind of in between, a little bit maybe below a PLE, but a little bit above a Raw or SmackDown. I guess we can kind of throw it in at. But I loved that they had the throwback with the referees. They had, of course, Jesse Ventura there at the beginning of the show, and then kind of like spaced throughout with excuse me, with Joe Desator. But they did a phenomenal job, and shout out to him and to his bow tie. But I loved that feeling. I love that vibe. They had them standing at a podium and just kind of giving updates. For instance, Jesse talked about the Liv Morgan match, and was just giving her praise. And then Jesse Ventura was also guest commentator, along with Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, who made an appearance and was doing commentary throughout the show as well with Michael Cole. I just love the overall vibe. I love the red, white, and blue for the ring ropes. I love, of course, like I was about to say, the referees had the old classic blue button-up shirts with the black pants. I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that. But to get back to my brain fart there, we did have 2 referee bumps. That is confirmed. 2 referee bumps. But Owens went to ringside and returned with the chair. Cody avoided the chair shot and then hit Owens with a Cody cutter. Cody followed up with a crossroads onto the chair. That's why I couldn't remember exactly. So Cody hit the Cody cutter first, then followed that up with the crossroads onto the chair. And then the original referee, because Cody was going crazy, like, where you at? Fuck. Just tickles me. It's like, bro, you remember he just got knocked out. But the original referee came, Charles Robinson, who still looks amazing. Shout out to him. Stood up and counted the pin from the floor, which is very interesting. He was still standing on the floor and just reached him. Boom, boom, boom. Done. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. I think that's very telling. A very telling way to end that match with Cody being the one to take advantage of the chair. Yes, he didn't actively swing the chair and hit Kevin Owens with it, but he knew where that chair was. And this is coming from a big Cody Rhodes fan, right? He knew where that chair was. So whether it's food for thought right now or a seed that's going to grow into something a little later on for a potential turn, and it's going to be, I think we're going to be at a point, whether it's a year, 2 years from now, where we look back on that night and Saturday night's main event, and we hear from Kevin that Kevin was right. He has a shirt. Kevin is right. Kevin has always been right. I think that's going to come back. So I love what they did there. But of course, the big deal was not just the match itself, but what happened after the match. And Cody, I was trying to see, I can't bring it up because the video will play, but Cody was about to address the fans, as he always does, speaking to the fans on Long Island. And right as he was about to do that, Kevin Owens attacked him. I removed myself, if you guys could still hear me, but I think I messed up my connection there, but there we go. But we do have a picture of old Codes on the stretcher. Get this pulled up here. There we go. Old Codes. There he is. Oh, Cody. our guys taken out on a stretcher from the package pile driver from Kevin Owens. And I love what they're doing with the pile driver. I love what they're doing with the pile driver. I love the fact that something so simple is it as simple as one move is being taken seriously. And it's amazing what you can do and the importance that you can put on a move just by not overusing it and not using it, period. And selling the fact that this move has been banned because of the severity of it and what happens to individuals who take this move, right? You see what happened to Stone Cold, all this stuff. And again, Kevin Owens hit a package pile driver, which is different than the standard pile driver. You're more folded up. And actually it looks more brutal, in my opinion. Which is plays into the more sinister mindset of Kevin Owens, right? So yeah, and I think Kevin is gonna say, well, I guess it wasn't the case for Randy Orton, but Kevin can blame it on Cody as well and say he snapped, like Kevin or Cody cheated rather. So, but the fans are, like Cody cheated, but the fans are still gonna love him. And he's gonna not even necessarily twist it, but he's gonna put his spin on things. So yeah, I think that it's really. I really like what they did, and I like the fact that it happened after the show. And it's really telling, is what I was gonna say, how they set it up. The fact that, again, Kevin Owens attacked Cody after the show is making what Kevin is doing more believable. And it's also showing Cody in a different light because, again, Cody technically did cheat, like he's not allowed, you're not allowed to impale someone onto an object, however you're doing that. You can't do that. You can't, whether it's a Cody cutter or the crossroads or anything, you can't plant your opponent onto a chair in the ring. That's a disqualification unless something's changed. So Cody technically cheated and or at least took advantage of the situation with the referee being down, and that's not the clean cut guy that we know Cody to be. So very interesting there, and it's, again, I like the fact that they did it after the show went off the air because it gives the fan attendance something cool, and it gives WWE the opportunity to use fan footage, right? And to kind of take advantage of that and to kind of use that vibe going into stuff. And it keeps you on your toes too. And it reminds you that just because the show ends doesn't mean that their stories have ended. And I really enjoy that. I really dig what they're doing there. So props to WWE and what they did there. And I love the continuous shots that they're doing as well with their production. Just a lot of little things that they're doing right lately that I really dig. Get this back up here. So yeah, shout out to them. And I think Saturday night's main event was a very good show. I was here for it. I was a big fan. Again, did I think it was like, oh my god, a fucking blow away show, you gotta stop what you're doing now and go watch it? No, but if you want to put on a good show, you can put on that, so yeah, that's my thoughts on that. But last but not least, I do want to go over the updated AEW Worlds End card that will be happening here in Orlando, Florida. Of course, if you've listened to me before, I will be attending the show. So if you're going, hit your girl up. Let me know. We can meet up. Say hey, grab a drink at the venue or whatever. But I do want to go over the updated card really quick because they added a lot. So, which I guess it is a couple weeks out now, but I was just surprised that they added this many matches so far. So, really quick to let me get the comments pulled back up here. Sorry, Matthias lost the TV. Johnny, you said I wouldn't mind seeing Owens versus Cody in a stretcher match or a TLC match. Yeah, stretcher TLC. I'd want to go to stretcher match. I think I'd really like to see that, especially, or I would say more so now because of the edge and the freedom that WWE is giving wrestlers now, like with what we saw in the Hell in a Cell. So I think between those two, I would go with the stretcher match if and when they revisit this. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how long Cody's going to be out as well, because January 6th it's less than a month, so we'll see. We will see. Yeah, thanks, Johnny, with the crossroads. Yeah, I appreciate that. Oh yes, thank you for mentioning the Wing Eagle belt. Yeah, Rewind, I said, is it me or is the winged eagle belt overrated? The big blue eagle was such a better belt in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I think the winged eagle is a very very beautiful title. Um, but the title I grew up on was the one right after. This was the title, and let me know if this is the one that you were referring to when you said the blue one. Oh, makes me want to go back and watch just some good old wrestling, good old '90s wrestling. But this one right here, the one that Stone Cold is holding. Obviously, the Smoking Skull one was dope too, but that title right there, that's the one that I grew up on. That really was prominent, I guess, when I was really following wrestling, and actively knew what I was watching. That's the one that was a staple for me, and I actually have the old foam belt version of it. I don't know how that's one of the random things that was able to stick around with me. But I loved it. That was my the one that I grew up on. But the Winged Eagle is a beautiful title. So I just like them for different reasons. And that one just has a closer, I guess, meaning to me personally. But yeah. But yeah, dude, and the KO and the gold shirt, those little details make me love it so much more. Absolutely, absolutely. He's also wore, excuse me, Stardust shirts in the past. The Dusty Rhodes shirts in the past. So KO's just a monster, bro. Just a fucking monster. Johnny says, I want to see the spinning belt come back to WWE for both the WWE title and US title. I don't know, Johnny. You might be banned, Johnny. No, I dug the spinner title. I loved that US spinner title. Again, I know a lot of people cringed on it, but to me, it was fitting for Cena at the time. And it really amplified him as a character and him as a brand, really. And obviously, he took that over to the big gold belt when he not not obviously directly the big old belt, but to me it was the big old title because the shit was just massive. The shit was massive. But I thought it was a pretty title too, how Cena revamped the heavyweight championship. Let me pull that up here. Excuse me. This guy right here. Oh, I don't want to buy it. Hold on now. Hold there. That guy. A lot of people hated on that. A lot of people hated on it, and again, I get it, but for Cena as a character, it made sense to me. It made sense to me. Um, God, man, it's fucking crazy. Those. I'm not gonna say those are the days, but it's just crazy how long ago that was. Um, Time just fucking crazy. But anyways, let me before we get too sidetracked here. But yes, World's End. So, like I said, I would be at World's End in Orlando. If you are going there, hit me up on Twitter. Yeah, we can grab a drink or whatever at the show. But the updated card, of course, we will be getting the semifinal winners for the both of the oh my gosh. What's happening with my screen here? There we go. The semifinal we'll be getting the finals for the blue and the gold leagues, so no surprise there. That will be on the card. We'll be getting the semifinal match, and then the apparently the are we continuing it there? So at least according to Wikipedia, we have the semifinal, and then we have the blue league winner facing off against the gold league runner up, which I don't know, and then we'll have the blue league runner up facing off against the gold league winner. I don't know. We'll be getting a match there, guys. Is what I'm getting at least from Wikipedia. I don't know why it's. I don't know if that's been what's been reported because that makes no fucking sense to me. But we'll be getting some Continental Classic matches on the card. And hopefully the winner, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe, maybe not. Hopefully we'll get some clarification, at least in the meantime, leading up to it. We have our four-way match for the AEW World Championship that has been solidified. We'll be getting Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy versus Hangman Adam Page versus Jay White. To be honest with you, I'm like 50-50 on if I'm like excited for this match or because you already know who's gonna win, but which is kind of a bummer. I was hoping at least by the time Worlds End came around that we would have more direction and more clarification on who Jon Moxley is directly going after or who is going to be the sole representation for AEW and what that even really means. My pick was Hangman, who was going to be the victor, and maybe he still will be going forward. But I don't see that happening right now, obviously. And I don't think we'll ever get Shane Man, guys. I think that's just kind of died at this point because that was another thought that I had that by World's End we'll be getting the revelation of a higher power or whatever is driving Jon Moxley. But apparently Moxley is just driving Moxley, and he's just mad at AEW. So yeah, I guess that's where we're at right now. Which okay, fine, but I don't see him losing the title anytime soon. Then, if that's the case, MJF versus Adam Cole has been made official, change that, official for the match, and it is for the Dynamite Diamond Ring as well. So no worries, guys. I know you were kind of concerned that why are we having an MJF and Adam Cole match? There's nothing at stake. There is. We have the Dynamite Diamond Ring. Don't worry. No, I'm just ready for, again, talking about all the other shit with WWE, all those matches that were ready to be done and over with, in stories rather, at least for now. This is one of them. This is up on the top of the list for me. Like, just fucking be done with it. I want MJF to do his own thing. I want Adam Cole to find himself again and do his own thing and be done with the Undisputed Kingdom. I almost said the United Kingdom. Terrible. I love the UK. Shout out to the United Kingdom. But no, I just want them both to be done with each other and move the fuck on. That's just kind of where I'm at with them. Mariah May is our champion, of course, our women's champion, facing off and defending against Thunder Rosa, which, excuse me, I'm happy for because Thunder Rosa has been on the back burner for far too long, and I hope that she finally gets the opportunity to showcase what she's about. Do I think she's going to beat Mariah May right here at this time? Probably not, but I'm saving my predictions. Early pick? Nah, I think so. But I think it's going to be a really good match. Forward to that match, though. And then we also have Konosuke Takeshita facing off and defending his championship, his AEW International Championship against Powerhouse Hobbs, which I believe that was announced on Collision. So that's going to be a very interesting match. Two kind of clashing styles, in my opinion. You have your strength coming from Hobbs, but he is very agile as well for a big man. And of course, you know what Konosuke brings to the table as well. So I think that's going to be a sleeper match in the sense that people are going to be kind of going into it, maybe not underrating it necessarily, or just not giving it as much credit as they probably should going into it. And then once we sit down and get into it, it's going to be like, holy shit, like this match hits. So I hope so, at least, because Takeshita's match with Ricochet just, for whatever reason, just wasn't doing it for me. And that's just odd because you would think, like, oh, they're going to have a fucking kick-ass match. And I think maybe it was just like the energy wasn't there from the fan. I don't know. It was just maybe a combination of stuff. So, and again, you know, maybe it's just a situation of, excuse me, two very, very good in-ring talented performers. Not even being off because they weren't off, but it just, the magic just wasn't in the air at that, for that match, really, at that point. So I'm hoping Takeshita gets like a different shine in this match and things are just different because I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where how long has he been in the company now? 2 years? Something crazy like that. I just felt like he would have been built up a little bit more. I feel like they even put more focus on Fletcher, building Fletcher up more than they ever did with Takeshita, which is kind of crazy to think about and to say out loud. And again, maybe they're just keeping him on the back burner and just kind of keeping him like simmering excuse me, gosh, keeping Takesh just simmering, but I don't know. I think it's kind of simmered a bit too long. Yeah, it's still gonna be a good dish, but man, it could have been better if it had taken off a little bit prior. But I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see. But that is where we will wrap up at. I have got to give my voice a break. Need to go get some fluids. Get some stuff ready for work tomorrow. Do some editing here, and just get ready for the real world, which kind of sucks, getting back into the grind. But you gotta do what you gotta do, right, guys? But thank you so much to everyone who popped in. I truly appreciate everyone. William, I appreciate you. I see you popped in there. You were watching Sunday Night Football. Totally get it, man. I appreciate you popping in. After you finish up. Not sure if you're if you're a Packer or a Seahawks fan, but I had the game on. Packers were up, I think, 2 scores to zip. So 14 nada, I think it was when I popped on. But my best friend is a Packers fan, so I hope Packers won. Excuse me, sorry guys. But yeah, thank you to everyone. Like I was saying, William, Johnny, Rewind, of course, Jesse, everyone who came over from Ringside Renaissance, their crew. I love them, guys. Shout out to them, and thank you for popping over. Lucifer, I appreciate you, man. As odd as that sounds, saying out into the universe here, but Lucifer sees your pain. I appreciate you, man. That's my the guy's handle. Just in case anyone's popping in here in the last, it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, but Tommy, appreciate you jumping in. Nick as well. We'll definitely be linking up. Fearfully Confident, externally, and I appreciate you all. Appreciate you all. And anyone I missed, no offense. And anyone who watched on Twitch. I don't really know how anything on Twitch works yet. Getting used to that, but I at least wanted to get it connected just to do a little test run. And Sai, my friend, I forgot to throw the banner back up after I was sharing my screen, but I will get better at being a multitasker here on these streams. But as always, guys, thank you so much for popping in. I truly appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter on all these displays that Sai made me here. So you can follow me on Twitter at @KickAshPodcast_. That's the show here. You can follow me personally at ASHMANNS. You can also check me out over at Wrestling Media, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, live. But yeah, until next time, guys, again, thank you so much for popping in. If you're watching on replay, I appreciate that. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, whatever suits your fancy. I appreciate it. And yeah, like I said, until next time, guys, stay safe and enjoy some wrestling. Take care.